Good morning, everyone. Look, I found another surprise in this box, and it is the 2870 f2. I know a lot of you, some of you have really been waiting for this lens that exists with Canon but does not exist with Sony. Is this the ultimate all-in-one zoom lens? Because f2 constant between 28 and 70 is pretty incredible, I will tell you that. Now, is it too heavy? Is it too expensive? How does it perform? Well, we're gonna answer this in this video together. I had a chance to test it around here in nature, and yes, I did sleep in my car. So if you're ready, let's get started. Whew, 86 millimeter. This front element is 86 millimeters, which means you'll have to buy a new filter, right? Because I never had 86 millimeter threads, so yeah, that's the bummer. But let's talk about the good things here, and let me know right away if you're part of the rumor that a lot of people left Sony to go to Canon in order to get a 28 to 70 f2, and now I'm wondering if those people will come back. How do you feel about that lens? Would you consider it? Would you not consider it? I'm super curious. And the first thing I gotta tell you is that it is pretty sweet. We're going to talk about the ergonomics of how it is designed and why it's kind of groundbreaking in its own way. And then I'll talk to you about the performance. But look, I took some photos I absolutely love with it. Could I have taken it with another lens? Probably, but I took it with this one. And the f2 at 70 is just, it's almost like having a prime lens, but it's a zoom. It's pretty cool. Okay, we have the same construction as on any GM lens. We have a lens ring, we have two buttons here, we have the smooth tight button, and the first thing you can notice is that this lens actually does not come out much. Even when it's fully extended 70 millimeter, it's pretty tight. So it's very compact in its own way for its size, because it needs to be big. It's a f2 aperture. It is also extremely light, and this is a real good surprise. Okay, we're talking 918 grams, which is kind of the same weight as the 2470 GM1. Pretty incredible considering that the Canon one is about 1.4 kilo, which is close to 50% more. So when you put it on your camera, it doesn't feel drastically crazy in terms of weight and size. I feel like this f2 is really covering a lot of bases. I have the RX1 R2 at 35mm f2. I love that ability to go to f2. Why? For low light, for bokeh, for several reasons. Now that you understand what this lens looks like, that's it. It's another black lens. We can talk about the performance. Does it make sense to have that f2? When is it helpful? When is it not helpful? The price point, is this going to be a huge hindrance for many? Would I recommend switching a 2470 for a 2870? Let's talk about that right outside. But before that, if you don't know me, my name is Piety Lambert. I'm a travel adventure photographer and the creator of the 30-day method to great photos, a step-by-step method for taking your photography to the next level, training your photographer's eyes in order to take photos you love, no matter what kind of camera you're using. You can join the next session. There's a link in the description if you're curious. And I'm sharing on this YouTube videos, tutorials, and photography adventures. So make sure you subscribe to see the next one, and let's get outside to talk performance. When you add that lens hood, it does look huge, right? I mean, it's a pretty big setup, but it looks a little better like this. Now, one thing to understand in terms of performance, this lens has been incredible for the autofocus, the speed at which it does the autofocus, and the silentness of it. Now, f2 versus 2.8, does it make a really big difference? And I'll get back to autofocus in a second. Well, look at these two images and tell me which one is which. Can you tell me in the description if this one is f2 or if one is 2.8? Well, here, you have it. Let me know if you got it right. Honestly, it's a big debate. Does it make a real difference or not? I think it is very tiny sometimes to notice. It will make a difference in terms of your ISO, how high your ISO will go, obviously, but in terms of bokeh, depth of field, etc., it's not huge in my opinion. But sometimes there's a little something that's different, and which is why I love on the RX1 R2 the 35 f2. I mentioned the autofocus being extremely fast and silent. That is exactly what it is. And when you do video with it, it's pretty incredible to see it go from one plane to the other of focus without actually making any noise or anything. And I find that pretty incredible. The question that will come up is it's big and it's bulky, but you have f2. You can do kind of everything with it. It's like having a prime lens from 28 to 70, but is the 24, the 4mm make a difference also when you're shooting? Well, I'm gonna take a photo at 24 and one at 28 just to show you the difference on the landscape, and you tell me what you think. When I was shooting a photo at night, this photo, I actually could not take that photo at 28mm. It was too tight, so I had to move to 14mm, which is much wider. 24 wouldn't have worked either. So it's 28 is not that tighter. The only thing you may consider is that if you're in streets and the streets are very narrow, then 28 can feel tight in my opinion. Maybe having a 14mm prime in your bag or 20mm prime in your bag can compensate for that. I will say this is the ultimate portrait and travel lens in a way. It will be big. I don't think people will not notice you. Now you're facing a choice of 2070 f4, 2450 f2.8, and then you have also the 2470 GM2 f2.8. The choice is really tough in my opinion to make. Let me know what you would do if you were starting your kit, which lens you would go for. If you had unlimited budget, which one would you take? I'm kind of curious. I do not know which one I would take. I think the more I will shoot with this, the more I will see it. But when I had that 2450, I felt so good just to crop in and get to 70. And I felt amazing because it was so tiny. So I could have two of these or one small one and a bigger 70-200. It's a tough debate, you know. I'm gonna continue playing with this lens over the next few days, sleep in my car maybe, but I don't have a sleeping bag, and when I woke up it was 39 Fahrenheit, which is extremely cold. Grab your cheat sheet in the description with my best settings, and if you want to know the accessories I would never buy again, watch this video, and if you want to watch more about your autofocus, watch this video, and remember, get out there, go shoot, try something different, try something new, maybe don't buy a new lens, invest in your skills or workshop, and get out there. Bye.